Deuteronomy 22. Can we please have a regular chapter? And by regular, I mean like 10 deaths or fewer? Maybe a short family tree and like 3 sets of instructions? I cannot deal with the slavery and murder. The good news is we are going to get some decent stuff, like helping your neighbor. And then we'll get to the part about murdering the shameless hussy you just married. And then, somehow, it gets worse. If you see your fellow Israelites' ox or sheep straying, do not ignore it, but be sure to take it back to its owner. If they do not live near you, or if you do not know who owns it, take it home with you and keep it until they come looking for it. Then give it back. Do the same if you find their donkey or cloak or anything else they have lost. Do not ignore it. Aw, that sounds kinda nice. A biblical lost and found. I'll admit, it's weird that this happens so frequently that we need rules about what to do with a lost donkey. I mean, it's also weird how protective we are of these lost animals when every other mention of an animal in this book usually involves murdering it to please God. Now we're interested in saving them? Why? So we can sacrifice them next week? If you remember Exodus 23, we've done this before. But back then, we were returning our enemy's ox or donkey. Here, we're doing it for friends and tribe mates. Because if there's one thing the Bible wants to teach us, it's that you can't steal donkeys. Slavery is cool, though. If you see your fellow Israelites' donkey or ox fallen on the road, do not ignore it. Help the owner get it to its feet. Who are these people who were taking a nice walk, saw an ox just lying on the ground because it couldn't stand up anymore, and just kept walking? What the hell? Also, I don't know the sizes of these animals, but there is no way 2 dudes alone can push an ox back to its feet, right? I mean, 2 people can't move a couch from the 2nd story of a house. For a donkey, you probably need at least like 10 guys and a pulley system. A woman must not wear men's clothing, nor a man wear women's clothing, for the Lord your God detests anyone who does this. I see we've given up on segues. Why is this a rule? Why does God hate when people wear what feels comfortable to them? If a guy wants to wear a skirt, or a woman decides she's gonna wear her man's boxers around the house, let them. Drag isn't hurting anyone. But alright, no pantsuits or kilts. And no unisex clothing either, since that would mean men and women are wearing the same things. Obviously, this is a verse that has been used to trash gender-bending fashion designers and drag queens and even trans people, even though it doesn't apply in that case. It's just one of those rules that doesn't get explained except to say God hates it, which is never a good reason to avoid something. Wear what you want. I don't care. You shouldn't either. Okay, what else does God have to say about fashion? If you come across a bird's nest beside the road, either in a tree or on the ground, and the mother is sitting on the young or on the eggs, do not take the mother with the young. You may take the young, but be sure to let the mother go, so that it may go well with you, and you may have a long life. We're back to animals? Did we just take a detour into clothing only for God to be like, wait, you guys, I forgot a thing? Anyway, if you see a bird's nest, treat it like a Trump administration official treats refugees coming across the border. Put the mom over here, kids over there, and move along. I cannot believe Christians get credit for being the family values people when all they ever seem to do is tear families apart. I'm sure some Christians would say this is the kind thing to do, because the mother can now just have more babies and you're not destroying the whole family. But why would she go have more kids when they just get taken away from her? Keep the bird family together. When you build a new house, make a parapet around your roof so that you may not bring the guilt of bloodshed on your house if someone falls from the roof. First of all, parapets are like the little barriers around the top of your house, like you might imagine when you're building a sandcastle. But who cares? Why are people falling from your roof? And how come parapets are supposed to help you avoid guilt if someone falls from your house? Maybe your home is a liability. Is this a big concern for everyone? Who is helping the dude who just fell off the roof? I would love to answer those questions, but we are moving on to something completely different. Do not plant two kinds of seed in your vineyard. If you do, not only the crops you plant, but also the fruit of the vineyard will be defiled. Sure, can't grow two different things in the same vineyard. God hates interracial seeding. Do not plow with an ox and a donkey yoked together. God hates interracial yoking too. That verse could have ended after do not plow, and it would have covered all the sex rules in a heartbeat. Why are we mad about this? We found those animals wandering around aimlessly. We saved their asses. Get it? And now we're putting them to work. It's about time they learn some teamwork. I guess someone could argue the smaller animal would suffer in this situation. But if you know the Bible, it's not like God cares about anyone suffering. Do not wear clothes of wool and linen woven together. I am getting so much whiplash from this chapter. Why are we back to clothing? And why is God against interracial fashion? This is a widely quoted verse though, so let's discuss. Why no wool and linen? What's gonna happen? It's not like they have laundry machines that can't handle it. There should be some kind of explanation. Like linen is made by a river, which is an Egyptian thing, and wool is made in the desert, which is more of an Israelite thing. And we shouldn't be mixing those people with our people. Or that priests wore blends of wool and linen, so regular people shouldn't be allowed to do the same thing. Kind of like how you and I can't just dress up like a cop wherever we go since it might confuse people. But none of that is mentioned here. Those things may very well be the explanations. But instead of telling us the why, we are just told the what. And it's not very convincing. This passage did not hold up over time. Make tassels on the four corners of the cloak you wear. Or what? What is God gonna do if I don't? Is this also a sin worthy of death? If you can't explain the rule, no one should have to follow it. Guess what? We're done with fashion. We're also done with weird animal rules. We're just gonna go right along to marriage, now that we're done talking about all the important things. If a man takes a wife and, after sleeping with her, dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity, then the young woman's father and mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate proof that she was a virgin. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin. But here is proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders of the town, and the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because this man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. Someone needs to help this poor woman. If I have this straight, a man was expecting to marry a virgin. Then it turns out she wasn't great in bed. Well, why would she be any good? She doesn't know what she's doing. Sex with a virgin is awkward and not that hot and no fun for anyone, and I am not speaking from personal experience about myself. And why would the guy be any good either? Is he not a virgin? Who was he sleeping with that made him an expert? And look, if they're not having great sex, first of all, why are they getting married? Don't marry someone if you don't know if you're sexually compatible. And why is the guy's first response to spread lies about her? Go work on your physical relationship. Go see a marriage counselor. Go watch some videos online. There are ways to deal with it. But whatever you do, do not get her parents involved. If your parents know about your sex life, ew. Sorry, that's just weird. I don't care if you're like Gilmore Girls close, I am judging you. But if you do get her parents involved, what is up with the cloth? What cloth are they displaying? The supposed bloody sheet from her wedding night? Why are they holding on to that like a souvenir? You do that with a wedding dress, not the hotel sheets. And how would that cloth prove your virginity? That is not scientific. How come no one's washing that sheet? And how come every single family isn't just keeping a bloody sheet handy for this exact situation? It's not like they were going to take a DNA test at the time. So just say, here's the bloody sheet. Or a bloody sheet. Whatever, don't murder my daughter. And after all that, at worst, the guy has to pay 100 shekels? The wife gets punished way worse because she still has to live with this guy forever. Then again, maybe it is worse for him since he just began his marriage with a massive fight and a wild accusation all in the public eye, and now he's gotta stay with her. She's gonna hold this against him forever, and he totally deserves it. Good luck having sex for the second time. If, however, the charge is true, and no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the men of her town shall stone her to death. She has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in her father's house. You must purge the evil from among you. Oh, sure. You knew this was coming. If the woman's not a virgin when she's married, she must be executed. Because there's nothing Christian men hate more than a woman who's not ashamed of her sex life. Clearly, some things have not changed since the Bible was written. You know what else is messed up? In previous chapters, we were told people could not be found guilty and sentenced to death unless there were 2 witnesses. So, these people must have had some very interesting wedding nights. If a man is found sleeping with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. I get the rule as far as morality goes, but given that everyone in the Bible seems to have the worst sex lives, can we just let it slide when people have a consensual affair? They're having fun. Who knows, maybe they're all swingers. She's probably married to a guy who calls her a harlot and demands cloth proof of her virginity. She deserves some pleasure. Let her have some fun. We're about to learn, by the way, that God is harsher against unmarried people who have consensual sex than random guys who force themselves on others. If a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married, and he sleeps with her, you shall take both of them to the gate of that town and stone them to death. The young woman, because she was in a town and did not scream for help, and the man, because he violated another man's wife. You must purge the evil from among you. I know all that is horrific, but I am trying to imagine a scenario where a grown woman never has sex, gets engaged, walks through town one day, sees a new guy, and then just decides to rip off her clothes for him. There is no way that would happen. And there are other scarier reasons she might not scream for help. Have we considered that possibility? No, we have not. But too late, she's been executed. But if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done this shall die. Do nothing to the woman. She has committed no sin deserving death. This case is like that of someone who attacks and murders a neighbor, for the man found the young woman out in the country, and though the betrothed woman screamed, there was no one to rescue her. You know, I'm with the Bible on this one. The rapist should be punished. The victim should not. Here's the really messed up part. This entire chapter, and so many previous ones, are all about the crazy, extreme laws in biblical times. But conservative Christians today are all about punishing a rape victim. If she's impregnated, Republicans want her to have the baby and raise the baby and give up whatever life path she was on. It's the Bible saying we should lay off the victim who's been through enough. When biblical morality looks good by comparison, you know you belong to a broken religion. You know what the Bible does not say, though? What happens when that young woman gets married and her husband says she's not a virgin anymore? Is there an exemption for her? Because that is not discussed. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. If I read that correctly, if a man just spots a woman he wants and sexually assaults her, and someone notices, he gets to keep her forever after making a quick stop at the ATM. I take back everything I said in the last section about biblical morality getting it right. This is barbaric. The Bible makes it sound like a punishment for him. He raped her, now he has to marry her. What about her perspective in all this? She is now forced to spend her life with her assailant. That is so much worse. A man is not to marry his father's wife. He must not dishonor his father's bed. Fine. I also support not marrying your mother or stepmother. Didn't realize we needed this rule, but okay. Well, so much for a normal chapter. Somehow, we learned how to take care of baby birds, but not their mother because we're nice people, and punished rape victims by forcing them to marry their attackers because God loves traditional marriage. Every single one of you watching this is more moral than the Bible.